Carolina Barbecue Festival's 5th anniversary is almost here. Get your tickets today for the Queen City's biggest barbecue party, April 17th and 18th, Victoria Yards in Uptown Charlotte. 30 Pitmasters are celebrating Carolina barbecue traditions, supporting Operation Barbecue Relief, and serving you the very best barbecue. The fun starts Friday night with the kickoff and a salute to all things Charlotte barbecue. Then we all get together for Barbecue Saturday and tasting plates from 25 Pitmaster stations. Tickets are going fast, especially VIP early entry. Get yours today, CarolinaBBQFest.org. Then join us April 17th and 18th for the Carolina Barbecue Festival. Of course, as part of that kickoff for the festival is Charlotte Barbecue Night, as we mentioned, and that's featuring 5 Pitmasters in and around the Queen City. Among them, our guest today, Holden Sasser, Pitmaster for Union Barbecue, a food truck and catering business you'll find at breweries all around Charlotte and at events around the South. When you hook up with Union, you'll quickly learn why barbecue fans around the region are raving about the unique flavors that Holden has brought to the scene. Holden, welcome to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Thanks, Sugar. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, so imagine you sit down at a picnic table full of strangers for a barbecue experience, the one that's in your mind. How do you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Holden Sasser, Pitmaster and owner at Union Barbecue, and you pretty much hit it on the head. We're a food truck and caterer here in Charlotte area, but go all around and put on some great events and some great food for folks.
Okay, so at that imaginary barbecue, if you could dream up the perfect barbecue order, the order for Holden, what's that going to be?
Oh, man. The perfect order for me is probably going to be some fatty brisket and really good pickles. I'd say just keep it at that, nice and simple.
Simple brisket and pickles. You can't beat that. Are you going to put sauce on the brisket?
No, you don't need it.
Perfect. Good answers on both counts. So let's talk about Union Barbecue. Yeah, what is it, and how long have you guys been operated, and how did you get started with that?
Yeah. So, like I said, we're a food truck in town. We do more of a Texas style barbecue with some Mexican flavors popped in there, and we started. I did my first pop-up when I lived out in California. That was November of 2022. So we've been doing this for about 3 years now. And then in 24 got the food, in 23 got the food truck and have been doing that for the last, couple of years. And so we do all kinds of brewery and bar events around town. And just like to partner with folks on their private caterings as well.
Right. So I come to a brewery. Maybe it's one of my favorite breweries. I won't name any of them. A town brewing company. Maybe it's those guys. What can folks expect when they pull up at the Union Barbecue food truck?
Yeah, so seasonality plays a big part in our menu. We source from local farms like Garden Window Farm here north of Charlotte and Denton, and let that drive a lot of our side and sauce selections. We also try to offer a lot of variety on our menu week to week, changing the proteins that we sell. They can always expect to get good brisket. We always run that each week. And a lot of fun pickled items. We like this lately. We've been doing a lot of pickled green tomatoes, pickled okra. Just different items that we can bring and kind of spice up our trays. And then I think they can also expect good hospitality. We love to, although we're a food truck, we love to get out of the truck and go visit with folks and make sure they're loving everything. So those are some of the things we do week to week.
Hey, how would the catering experience differ from that?
Well, so the catering experience, we go like a wide range of experiences for folks, all the way from, boxed lunches for a corporate event to really specialized like smoked surf and turf style menus for, a fancy holiday dinner, for example. So we have 2 different trailers. We've got our smoker trailer with a 500-gallon offset and a direct heat pit. And then we've got our food trailer that we do most of the services off of. So for a lot of the private events, we're pulling the smoker trailer up. We've got the fire running. We're pulling, proteins off the cooker and, doing some kind of live cutting, slicing, finishing, and serving. So that just adds a little extra flair to that and gets highly customizable with what we can do for catered events.
Well, so you mentioned the smoker in the trailer and the smoker in the that you pull behind. Tell everybody what the smokers are. Give the details on that. I know a lot of folks are interested in that kind of thing too. Those specs.
Yeah. So the offset I run is I found this guy on Facebook Marketplace that makes his own pits. It's called Skoda Smokers, SGODA. Okay. And he's kind of a guy that like builds a pit, cooks on it himself for a little bit and sells it, and then builds a new one. So he's not one of the bigger names out there, but I love his work. He does a great job. And that's just a 500-gallon offset. We run hickory in that, and then we've got a little TMG direct heat pit that I've also mounted on that trailer, and so we can do kind of our direct heat items and finishing items on that. And those are the two pits we're running today.
Gotcha. So now you spoke a little bit earlier about the Tex-Mex flavor, and I know that's kind of how you guys have become known. How is that barbecue different, from maybe what folks will find elsewhere? And what does Tex-Mex mean really?
Yeah. So I'd say it's different just because of the types of kind of flavors, salsas we use, and the different accompaniments with our barbecue. So think side sauce and pickles. I mean, that's where we really let that influence come in. It's a flavor profile that I've always loved since I was little and been enamored with, and spent a lot of time in Mexico in particular to just learn more about and think about how we can incorporate that into a more Texas barbecue style menu. And so we use a lot of different types of chilies in our salsas. And I think that spice is maybe a little different than some folks are used to around here. And we always have something that brings a little kick to it on the menu. So yeah, those are a few ways we're bringing it.
I got you. What do you feel like the crowd's favorite is? I know you mentioned the brisket, and I see a lot of that. Is that the top seller, or is there something else that's a dark horse?
Brisket's definitely what we sell out of first, most weeks. And that's the more popular protein. One of our more popular sides is called the smoky sweet potato. That's an open face baked sweet potato with a smoked Mexican crema, pepitas, sunflower seeds, and a little tahini. And I love sweet potatoes, and I think that set is unique for a sweet potato. It's not just your typical, cinnamon, sugar, and butter, and kind of brings some fun flavors to it. So that's another popular one for sure.
I got you. So you guys have been in the trailer and the catering business here for a couple of years along the way. Any plans for brick and mortar? Is that the next step for you guys? Or you good where you're at?
Yeah, we're always open to hearing about brick and mortar opportunities and see what's out there. I think it could be a possibility one day. But I think first and foremost, we do like the asset light footprint of the trailer and how mobile we can be. It all has its pros and cons at the end of the day, but we see a really good opportunity to continue to scale with the current footprint we have. But if there are really good brick and mortar opportunities that come up, we'll always take a look. So it's keeping open to those things. But our ideal state, I think, would be if we could be open, a couple days a week to the public and make sure those are really strong sellout days. And then the rest of our schedule is filled with caterings and private events that are guaranteed. It helps this barbecue business model really work and succeed. And the demand planning side of things being a lot easier, just knowing what to expect. So that's kind of whether we do that with the food truck footprint or with a brick and mortar footprint, it can be done both ways.
Gotcha. And that's some interesting, you've revealed some details about the knowledge of the barbecue business that we'll talk a little bit more about here when we get into your backstory here. First, I want to ask you, you're hitting the breweries around Charlotte. I see you catering in places. How far out are you going? I know you've got something coming up in New Orleans soon.
Yeah. I mean, we'll really go anywhere. If someone wants to have us travel, out of state, that's just fine. I've pulled my smoker trailer down in New Orleans, like you mentioned, for Hogs for the Cause. We do that event annually with the Maison Masters of Barbecue team. It's an annual charity event raising money for childhood cancer, and they're doing a lot of great work down there. So that's just an event we do for fun and to be involved in such a great cause.
Yeah.
But we will travel all over for clients and work as well. Currently, the farthest out we've gone for private events is places like Asheville for weddings. So we've got a couple of those this year and have done a couple of those in the past, but yeah, you can really catch us anywhere. It's a good part of the mobile business.
Right. And on Instagram, I follow you guys there, and you do a nice job of keeping the schedule up to date, so I know where to find you. I try to include that over in the newsletter. You've got the special events coming up too. And we'll get more into the business piece of it. But first, Holden, you've got to tell me about Big Deborah.
Yeah, Big Deborah is a really popular one. That's one of our dessert items that we have on the truck. I will give a shout out to Chase Young, who helped pioneer that offering on the truck. He was kind of my first full-time employee that came on with the team, and now is doing a great job as a CDC up at Regina's West Side in Asheville. So he's moved on to a really great opportunity. But yeah, he helped us pioneer that Big Deborah, and it's like a Little Debbie oatmeal cream pie on steroids. So it's the size of your head. 2 soft oatmeal cookies, a really nice light cream filling, and people go crazy for that one. So it's a fun one we continue to offer.
Can't wait to try one myself. I would like to have one for breakfast. I enjoy an oatmeal cream pie for breakfast, like the goats of the world do. So let's talk about that business background, Holden. I've studied up a little bit about you. I know that you kind of come from a line of restaurant business folks and Burke Hospitality Group. Your dad, obviously the owner there, Mimosa Grill and Taco Molino, some familiar names around Charlotte. And what I read, again, he warned you against going into the restaurant business, having the knowledge that he has. He says, you don't want that. Why did you ignore his warning and go down this road?
Well, I think the layer I would add on to that is you have to really be you have to want this for more than the money or other things than that to be kind of to be able to succeed in this space, because as a lot of people know in the space, it's a big time commitment, and especially doing barbecue, you're working long hours, and there's a lot of prep leading up to those events, and so you have to be in it for the right reasons, and I think my dad was able to instill that in me from early age. You got to love this stuff to do it, and to be crazy enough to do it. And so yeah, I felt that it was an opportunity for me that I was really excited about. I had worked in finance out of school. I had worked for a lot of food ingredient companies after that, and had spent years developing new food products with big teams to come to the conclusion that we weren't actually going to launch this product, or it was going in a different direction. And I was just getting a little fed up with those kind of timelines, and just wanted to be able to make something and serve it the next day. And it was a lot more rewarding space for me, and has continued to be since I started 3 years ago.
Yeah, interesting perspective. And a lot of guys kind of come from that world and get into the restaurant, particularly the barbecue business. So how did you get towards the barbecue avenue, and why the meat smoking? Why'd you go there?
Yeah, so I grew up working in family restaurants, and also worked with my uncle at the farmers market. He's got a hog and cattle farm in Western North Carolina. And so we would do some barbecue events when I was much younger, and then I would throw some barbecue events in college. Did an annual event there, raising money for No Kid Hungry, where we would get whole hog pitmasters out. So whether it was cooking with my uncle or dad, or cooking at these different events I was doing, it was always just something that was close to home, and I really enjoyed the people, the process, and how much fun it was at the end of a 14-hour cook shift to see people's reactions on their face, and it just that got me excited about the barbecue space. And I just think, especially in Charlotte, there's a lot of great barbecue here, but I just felt there was with this area and how fast it's growing, there's room for more people in the area. So was excited about this market too.
How often do you turn to your dad or your uncle for questions about business now that you're out there in it?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. They're great advisors and can help me work through things from all angles, whether it's, execution and consistency on the menu or just more operational financial items that are just helpful to have sounding boards and people have been doing it for a long time to give good input. So it's been extremely helpful.
Any other inspiration or guidance people that you rely on?
I mean, inspirations for sure. I mean, they're all over here locally. On the barbecue side, I love to what guys like Robbie at City Limits and Garen at John G's are doing. And their inspirations in that they both started in food trucks as well and have been able to grow their business to where it is today. So, love those guys have helped me in different ways in just answering questions and being just good dudes and then also get inspiration from other people in the food truck space like Kimberly Bazan, who does El Veneno. That's a food truck that we work with a lot, and I think she brings a lot of fun and creativity to her menu, and we love to kind of riff off each other and share ideas and kind of keep pushing each other. So that's another great one.
A couple of times during the course of our conversation, you've mentioned charitable causes that you've been partnered with to help support from those college days to, again, something coming up here just next month. How does the charitable piece fit into it for you?
Well, I mean, I look at those as kind of like, an avenue for us to give back, number one, but also an avenue to have kind of a little barbecue vacation where we can support a great cause and join with efforts that we care about, but use the skills we've developed in the business and be able to offer something that gets people really excited about raising money for something that helps people at the end of the day. So I've been involved with No Kid Hungry and what's now the Carolina Hunger Initiative for over 12 years with a fundraiser we started there at UNC. And I just came back from that last week. We do an annual event there at Chapel Hill. And I've been lucky that there's a class there that's taken it over and continues to put that event on year after year. And now I get invited back as the one to cook for it. So that's super rewarding. And we're able to raise money for childhood hunger here in our state. And then on the, side, going down for Hogs for the Cause, that's a barbecue event and competition that, Pitmasters drive from all over the country to participate in. There's over 90 teams that throw down at that event and a lot of great live music and it's just an overall fun time. And the kind of impactful work they're doing, makes it all worth it at the end of the day, the travel, the cooking, to see what they can do for families that are going through, dealing with their child having cancer and supporting them in ways that make a huge difference through that process. So, just fun causes we care about and that we can make a difference and, let our skills do a little more than try to just make some money on the weekends.
Yeah. And this weekend, or actually April 17th and 18th, or this coming festival, Carolina Barbecue Festival supports the Barbecue for a Cause and Operation Barbecue Relief and the things that they support. And as we continue talking with Holden about upcoming Charlotte Barbecue Night, I want to remind everybody you've still got time to get tickets. Do that at carolinabbqfest.org. It's all going down in Uptown Charlotte's Victoria Yards, April 17th and 18th. First, kickoff Friday with Holden and Pitmasters from Max Speed Shop, Midwood Smokehouse, Improper Pig, and Barbecue King from Lincolnton. They'll all be there. Then Barbecue Saturday features more than 25 Pitmasters from across the Carolinas, Georgia, Virginia, Tennessee. VIP tickets will get you in the door an hour early at 11 a.m. You'll also get access to the VIP area with oysters and champagne, as well as a $10 voucher for merchandise. Get those VIP tickets today. And hey, listen up, families. If you got small kids, children under 6, they get in for free. You buy tickets while they last, carolinabbqfest.org, or you can now buy tickets at our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. Click on the drop down, go to the shop, buy the tickets, use promo code LOWSLOW for a discount. Then join us Friday night and Saturday in Uptown Charlotte for the best barbecue bites that you'll find around from people like Holden Sasser at Union Barbecue. So Holden, with that kind of in mind, where do you feel like the Charlotte barbecue scene, if you think about that, where do food trucks fit into that? Because we got a lot of brick and mortar guys. Holden, obviously building a name for yourself. Where do the food trucks fit in?
Yeah, I think the food trucks bring, a room for growth and new entrants in the space. I mean, there's the cost of real estate in Charlotte is increasing every year, and it's harder and harder for operators to get in the business. The cost of entry is getting higher, and so I think food trucks allow a space where people can come in and be creative and have that lower cost of entry and show off, what they've learned over the years and their new style or approach to barbecue. So I think we're going to continue to see more operators like that in Charlotte doing a good job and doing something unique.
So as you look out at the same, both in the food truck space and the barbecue space, I know you're all the Pitmasters, a lot of you guys are friends with one another, and you say it's not competitive, you're cordial, but the food business, you got to have customers to survive. So how competitive do you feel like it is to go into the Charlotte market with a food truck and a barbecue food truck at that?
Yeah, I feel like it is a competitive space. And I mean, every time you're in Charlotte, there's hundreds of other places someone could choose to dine out that night. So you've got to have a good enough hook to get them to choose you. And I think the benefit of the food truck allows us to focus on different neighborhoods and areas that, one weekend we could be in, right outside of Uptown at Birdsong, and the next weekend we'd be out in Waxhaw or Gastonia or McAdenville. Yeah. And we're able to not overly concentrate, that population with our food, where we get them excited about coming to see us because there is more limited availability. So I think that's one of the differences that we can provide. And I think our flavor profile, what we do at Union Barbecue, and that seasonality, the variety we offer on our menu, that's another hook that we see people liking to come back just to try the new things that we have that week. And so we try to, change things up for those reasons to get people in the areas we're going into excited and to give them a reason to want to come see us a few times a month versus just having that one big barbecue meal and be like, man, I'm done for a while till I can get the stretchy pants back on.
Well, won't see me again until this time next year. So hey, you've been in the scene a little bit, a couple of years there, I guess close to 3. How do you feel like the Charlotte barbecue scene has changed since you guys got started?
I mean, for one, it's gotten more expensive. Everything's more expensive around town. But I think other than just cost of operations and trying to make it work, I think we're continuing to see more and more people get excited about Charlotte barbecue, and so I wouldn't say a lot of the players in this space have changed, or anything like that. It's just we're seeing more and more people rally around the different options and variety of barbecue that Charlotte's offering.
While we're still talking about the business piece of it, what do you feel like the biggest challenge has been to you guys as you've gotten a food truck and a catering business started?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about forecasting. It's the food truck in winters and when bad weather and in unforeseen circumstances that, one day there's a marathon going on in town and all of a sudden you can't get to where you need to go because all the roads are blocked. You have to plan for every little thing. And as barbecue folks know, we're not someone that just shows up and cooks on site. We've got to prepare days and days in advance. So, we set our orders at the beginning of the week. And if, the whole weather outlook has changed by Friday, we're kind of stuck with the product that we've started prepping and making and just trying to get that inventory and par levels right. So we sell out, but not too early. We keep everyone happy. It's a constant challenge. And especially while you're trying to grow and and not lose money. So I'd say it's just that inventory and forecasting that's the biggest challenge.
As you kind of do that forecasting and combine that with a menu that changes with seasonality, and you offer something special all along, you got anything cooking up in your mind right now, Holden, as you look towards the summer? Anything you're thinking about trying, new experiments to put onto the menu that maybe people ought to be looking out for?
Yeah, well, we we'll see if people get excited about this one, but we do a lot with Peculiar Pig Farm out of Dorchester, South Carolina, outside of Charleston. They've got a really nice heritage whole hog program there, so we're actually getting in some pig heads this week and going to try to do some head cheese and some different items with those that might be a fun new offering. But that's something I'm kind of going to work on R&D in the background. And it's funny you ask, because those are getting delivered later today. And we're going to start working with those and see how we can just better utilize the whole hog, and especially help, a producer that we love, have offshoots and for products like that are less in demand. So that's one. I mean, the cheek is the best part on the pig, in my opinion. And so, if we can find some cool ways to use that whole head and cook that down, make some different kind of pâtés or head cheese there, it could be really special. So we're working on that one. We'll see if we can get that on the menu one day.
And around the part of North Carolina where we live, or Cleveland County, and I think Lincoln, Burke, Catawba County, liver mush is a big thing. So it may be a little bit of an acquired taste, but some interesting experience. We'll definitely look out for those on the menu at Union Barbecue. Holden, as we kind of wrap up here, let's talk about the Carolina Barbecue Festival. How did you guys get involved with that?
Yeah, so I mean, we were just really excited when Lewis Donald he gave me a call. It was probably 6-9 months ago at this point, and just I had been watching what was going on with this festival for a while leading up to this, and so thankfully we were just on the radar, and he gave us a ring and invited us out for the Friday night, and so we're just really excited to be a part of such a great event and get to be next to some of the great local pitmasters from all around the Carolinas. So just happy to make that connection through Lewis.
Have you been thinking about what you might be serving up for the barbecue fest?
Yeah. So we're going to be doing a sliced brisket set and a house-made brisket sausage link. I haven't talked much about our sausage program, but we do a lot of variety of different brisket sausage links on the truck to use some of that trim that we get each week when we cook so many briskets. And so this for Carolina Barbecue Fest, we'll be doing our house-made brisket chorizo cheddar link. We'll be serving that with a little salsa verde and pickled onion. And then our brisket set's going to be, a kind of a simple slice. We're going to do a little side of our salsa roja, which I call our brisket salsa, and a little cotija cheese on top for some added saltiness. So be a couple fun sets and not just your typical link and brisket, and hopefully add some new flavor there.
Yeah, that's something definitely to look forward to coming up April 17th for Charlotte Barbecue Night, the kickoff night for Carolina Barbecue Festival, that big weekend event. So, Holden, as we talked here, we've covered a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. Just kind of think in your mind and think back over our conversation. Anything that we missed, or anything you want to talk about maybe we haven't covered?
I think we hit on a lot of good ones today. So I appreciate all the thoughtful questions. And yeah, I think, one of the things I would just add on at the end here that I'm most excited about is just, not only being a part of events like this with the Carolina Barbecue Festival, but I'm just excited to continue to see, folks in the industry work together and do collaborations. We've seen a lot of that here in Charlotte. We do that with other trucks in town. And I think there's more and more room for us to kind of share our platforms and get the name out for each other and support. So yeah, love seeing that and appreciate all this barbecue community is doing to help everybody else out. So it's a good place to be.
And that, my friends, is the final word from Holden Sasser, Pitmaster for Union Barbecue Food Truck and Catering. Find out more about his business at unionbarbecue.com. That's barbecue spelled out, no BBQing around here, unionbarbecue.com. You can also follow him on Instagram. Do that. You'll see the food pics and his schedule for stops all around the state and the region. Holden, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you again. You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, sponsored by the Carolina Barbecue Festival, April 17th and 18th, Victoria Yards in Uptown Charlotte. Reserve your tickets for the festival at carolinabbqfest.org. Be sure and use promo code Low and Slow for a discount. To our audience, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. If you like what you hear, share our podcast with your food-loving friends, and please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite stream. You can visit lowslowbbqshow.com. That's where you can subscribe to this podcast. It's also where you'll find other podcast interviews with pitmaster chefs that are all participating in the Carolina Barbecue Festival. We've got a lot of other interviews with smoke tenders from all across the South. You'll also find our blog where there's BBQ news, festival, and event details. You can sign up for our newsletter where we deliver the latest Carolina BBQ news, fundraisers, and food truck schedules, including Holden and Union Barbecue appearing on that schedule from week to week. It'll all be delivered to your email inbox. Just subscribe at lowslowbbqshow.com. And don't forget, you can find pictures and videos from all the big barbecue events exclusively on our Instagram page. Find Low and Slow Barbecue Show for reels from the barbecue brunch just a few weeks ago. But be warned, all the barbecue eye candy will create a strong desire to buy those barbecue festival tickets today. The Low and Slow Barbecue Show is proud to be part of the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. That's where Andrew Moose makes sure our interviews get delivered to your ears and eyeballs both here and on the YouTube channel. So for the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, I'm Trigger Willard reminding you that for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.